Yo, that's tight. So today we will be going through the second part of the deck engine series, and it's going to go on for a little bit because, well, there's a lot of cards that come out. There are a lot of cards that have come out, and there's a lot to cover. And I know this is a little bit, it might be outdated depending on when you actually watch it, but this is a good thing to keep track of, basically, as far as knowing what's the meta now and what has changed and what was relevant and what might you be able to play in the future that no one else is playing, really. So what we're going to do is going to go through 4 different engines. We're going to go through kind of a slightly more meta sort of thing going on here. The first one's going to be Apes, UI Goku, GT, or the GT engine, and as well as Buhan. And basically what I'm going to do here is go over the deck, the main cards in it, and then go through the pros and cons of it. And yeah, I know I put in as far as how to handle them or how to play around them or play against them, but I think both of those things will kind of answer themselves as I go through it. And I'm trying to be a little bit more organized. Plus, you can find different timestamps in either the comments or the description, and I'll make sure to put those there as soon as possible. And you can just kind of skip this as well. So let's get into the first one, which is Great Apes. And basically the thing about this is that as soon as set 3 came out, I believe apes were very prevalent, or prevalent, however you say it, in the meta. And at least for my locals, I think you saw apes pretty much everywhere as soon as it came out. But nowadays it's kind of tournament power, or you know, veggies, universe 7, that sort of thing. I think apes are still very strong. I think it's one of the strongest engines in the game still, and it's very hard to get around it. But when it came out, I think this was the idea behind Shigesh. I don't think Bandai really thought it through when it came to this. I think this deck really, or this engine really comes around, or revolves around 2 different cards, and Shigesh was one of those cards that revolved around 1. So first one is Planet Vegeta, in which it searches out a 4 or less Saiyan in your deck and add it to your hand, which you can use for any deck. But what makes it kind of broken is all Great Apes in your battle area switch to active mode, so they restand at the end of your turn, and that is just stupid crazy with all the apes that you can get out, and as well as just in general, just how apes are. And I completely forgot one card, so let me go. Oh, actually, no, it's here. Never mind. So, so I mean, this is the thing for that. I think that's the main card when it comes to Great Apes. The other card is King Vegeta. So basically, when you play this card, you search up 1 Great Ape with 5 or less and add it to your hand, and that could be any of the Great Apes as of right now, other than Great Ape Bardock. But the one that you usually do get is Absolute Great Defense. Wow, Absolute Defense Great Ape King Vegeta. So Great Ape King Vegeta, in which you can evolve him for the same cost, 2 yellow and 1 colorless. He does have 25,000 and double strike, which is just strong in itself, but all of the yellow Saiyan cards in your battle area gain barrier, which is just so stupid because it's so hard to remove just any of the apes because of that. And there's only a few ways, which I will definitely talk through. And it also reduces the combo cost of all Saiyans in your hand by 1. So basically all of these, which can be a liability if you don't have this guy out, which is why it revolves around these 2, all these become a free cost. So all of these that are a 1 cost, including the drawable Goku, including the Son Goten Family of Justice, which is what I run, including the no opening Son Goku during your turn, which is what I run as well. These are all free because of that. So I spoke about Great Apes in my Super Saiyan 3 budget profile. I do have that there. I mean, I'll link it in the description, or I'll throw an annotation here. Please check it out. I mean, it's a pretty good deck. I don't think it's gonna be like a regional topper, but damn, like, give me a break. Let me see you make a $50 deck and make it really good. Anyway, so I spoke about these things, and again, the thing about Shigesh is that it had King Vegeta in mind. The combo went, you Shigesh, you play him, you search out him, the next turn you play him, and now you have your apes going and up and going. Because this guy has barrier, the only way to get around it is if something ignores barrier, or something is like Zeno or UI, which we'll talk through. So the general gist of this, when you do have this guy up, is to get your other guys out. So you suggest you put down the King Vegeta, you evolve the next turn, and then as soon as you draw the March of Great Apes, you go ahead and play that and draw 2. And as soon as you do that, it's pretty much game, because most of the time, as long as you have a pretty good defense, which all of these do, they all mostly have blockers for a good reason, in a high attack power. It's kind of a lock in that sort of respect. But there are ways to get around it. But before I get into that, again, so you play him, you get him, you play him, or you play him with 3 energy, you play him after, you march as soon as you can, and then boom, bada bing. Especially with Super Saiyan 3, your energy ahead, it's very easy to do. It's just that you gotta watch out and protect this guy. So, just to go through the apes real quick, Fasha is, as soon as you play her, you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and switch into rest mode. Tora does the same thing, he just KOs 1 in rest mode. They're both blockers with 20,000 and 15,000 respectively, and they also have 1 cost 10,000 combo, so they all become a free 10k combo with this guy on the board. This guy is the guy that you need on the board before you play anything else. That is just how it is. And not many people play the Fasha Tora. They mostly play the Vegeta, and as well as the Bardock Will of Iron. This guy has a critical blocker for 20k. He also searches the top 3 for a Great Ape, and the reason why you do that is because you have a free combo cost for any of the Great Apes. So when you go for game or for crit or whatever, you can search out for more apes and then attack and combo for free, basically, with the one that you got. So if you already have a few apes on board and you're like, hey, I want to go ahead and just attack, basically, that's exactly what you're going to be doing. You can always say no too. It says choose up to 1, or if you choose to do so. Tora is still a good replacement for Bardock Will of Iron. He is a double striker blocker with 20,000, and then they don't have really too many targets other than the 5-drop, but when set 4 comes out with the 1-drop Bardock and as well as the 3-drop Bardock, I believe, he is going to be a very strong card, because when you combo with this card for 1 or for free, you get to evolve him. Same thing for Fasha and Tora. So the whole thing as far as this goes is you get your apes out and you start defending for free. That is the whole thing. There are honorable mentions, so like if you're playing a yellow leader and you play this guy for 1 cost or for free, you get to play this guy for 4. Not many people play him. If he was a 4 cost or 3 evolve, he would be one of the strongest Great Apes out there, but he's not. That's just how it is. He's a 25,000, which is kind of compensating for that 5k cost or 5 cost. But when he evolves into this card, you choose one of your opponent's rest energy in rest mode. They can't switch it back to active until you're started the next turn. So not only that they can't switch to active during their defensive step, but on their turn they can't switch to active, and then until then, basically trying to disrupt their energy process until your next turn. That's just strong. That's just strong. Same thing for Bardock over here. The only target for this guy right now is the 5-drop, whether it's set 4 or not. And he is a 25,000 blocker with double strike, which is good in itself. And when it evolves, choose your opponent's leader card in rest mode. It can't switch to active. So these two has their purposes, but they just don't see enough play because it's not fast enough. That's just all it is. This guy is a 5-drop swapper, I guess is what the names are called now. But basically, when you play this card, choose up to 1 Goku lineage with 5 or less from your deck and add it to your hand. He is still a great ape. You can't see it from here, but you can kind of see it with 25,000. He doesn't have any kind of special abilities other than his permanent being Son Goku GT. You have to have him the new GT leader, or the new Son Goku GT leader, either the starter deck one or the Super Saiyan 4 one. That's the only ones that kind of come to mind. So keep that in mind. And then Fu is here for a game ender. If you are playing Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you have 6 energy, go ahead and overwhelm at late game, and now they can't in fact activate any skills, including counters, and now you can go for game. So there you go. That is the whole premise of Apes. You play the 1 cost for free, etc, etc, and you get the Great Ape King Vegeta. So let's talk pros and cons. So the pros of this engine is that it has a strong late game. They're very hard to get around, very hard. They have barrier for everybody. Martial grade Apes on, especially Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It's stupid strong. You play 2 really strong cards and then draw 2, and then you have free Saiyan combos and you restand. All those things are very good. So we might be asking, what are the cons then? The cons are basically kind of the same cons that you might think. Since it is kind of strong, they are still susceptible to UI and Zeno. So unless you're running a Frieza clan or Frieza's army leader like Ginyu or Mecha or whatever, it's still gonna happen as far as cold, not really cold bloodless. Yeah, cold bloodless. Unless you have that, UI Goku and Zeno are gonna be the threats here. It's gonna ruin your whole board. You're gonna have to redraw and recreate your board, which is the whole thing for this. You build your board, you set it there, and you make sure you don't move. That's the whole thing. Now, they also have a kind of an early game weakness. The first 2 or 3 turns, whether you're Ginyu or not in Self Awakening, you're gonna be hit hard with critical or a very early aggro deck like Mass Saiyan or Mira or whatever. Mira's not really that much for early aggro, but maybe Super Saiyan 3 Goku. But if you're getting hit with crit over and over again, which I think a lot of yellow leaders are a little bit susceptible to that, you're gonna have a hard time. And aggro, any kind of aggro, just aggro in general, energy is very important, very vital. You're gonna have to be very careful to not tap out in certain leaders. For instance, Son Goku or the original Great Ape Goku. The reason I put that there is because he was the guy for this deck and this engine. People started using Ginyu because of the Self Awakening and the access to Cold Bloodlust and all that. But Goku right here was the ideal person, other than maybe Bardock. Anyway, King Vegeta is kind of a liability, so if he gets Mafuba'd or if he gets destroyed early in, well, good luck, I guess. And now these new anti-barrier cards are going to be running rampant as well. So watch out for the Frieza, watch out for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, watch out for yeah, that's really about it, I guess. Well, watch out for those. There you go. Let's move on to the next one. All right, up next is the UI Goku engine, and this one's pretty straightforward. You want this guy to be on the board to clear out their board, and as well to, you know, get a triple striker without a combo. So the thing about this is that, well, let me explain the card. The UI Goku, it's a blue card, 7-drop. You evolve or EX evolve for 2, so you have to have a specified 5-drop blue Sun Goku, not GT, not childhood, not adolescence, whatever it is. And he has triple strike. He has an auto in which returns all battle cards of your opponent's side of their field to their hand, and they can't combo out. So this is a very strong card, and I mean, if in general it is very strong, the chain is very strong, and there's a few things that you just have to know about this. So the whole thing behind the chain here is to play the Kansei Goku to get 1 blue Son Goku, and in the Vegito deck, all of the Son Gokus in the deck become green, red, and blue colors. I know I have the yellow ones, but these are just here for placeholders, just to look pretty. In the future, I'm sure there's going to be even more UI Goku cards. I think the promo card and as well as the gift box card are still coming along, so just keep that in mind. And oh well, I think this is the promo, or this is the promo, but still, this is the thing, is that you find a 1 Son Goku, a blue one, whether it's this one or another one, or even ones that turn into blue like this guy, and you find him in order to EX evolve on top. So the best target that you can get is the Rapid Onslaught. He is evolved for 3 instead of 4 like the starter deck Goku, and he does have double strike, and he gains critical if you drop 1 from your life into the drop area. So that is pretty strong in itself as far as this card goes. It's a 3-drop that gains double strike critical and help you self awaken. Not in the good way since you don't get that card, but still. And this isn't the other option here, the starter deck Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It evolves for 4, but I don't know why, but the 4th energy is just so much. I feel like it is so much. Especially since you have 3 here, and if you have 4 energy available, especially if you're doing Super Saiyan 3, which a lot of people use as a leader, you can be up at energy and then use Unyielding Trunks or Sensu Bean and then get UI Goku on the same turn. And that's pretty much what you want to do when you play UI. You want to get him as soon as it's best to do that. You can still use Rebirth of Justice. None of these things are, you know, a restriction as far as UI Goku does. He just wants a blue 5-drop. And Rebirth of Justice, you choose one blue battle card in your hand with 5 or less and play it, and then choose one of their battle cards and return to the hand. So still doing that with this guy, but you can do a mini version of that with him. Now that is pretty much the whole thing behind the UI Goku. You want to get him when they build their board. By the time you have 3 or 4 energy or Unyielding Trunks if you're using a blue sort of deck or whatever it may be, and then untap 2, whatever you can do. Again, Unyielding Trunks, when you combo it on your turn, when you have a blue leader, you get to untap 1 blue energy, and you can do that twice, and then summon the Ultra Instinct Goku. Now the pros as far as this one goes is that it is strong. So the Rapid Onslaught Goku is very strong. You still have this guy who is a double striker with 20,000, and he does have dual attack when you evolve. This guy is alright. Some people play him, some people don't. You get dual attack and draw 1. Same thing for this guy. You KO 1 and you have dual attack. But you really don't see these cards being played too much because they're a little slow, other than with Rebirth of Justice. So they have the best support in the game. Goku cards are always going to be coming. I don't know what's with Bandai and Goku. I know he's the franchise face of the series, but at the same time, you can chill with the cards now. I mean, we have plenty. Vegito is still a prominent sort of leader when it comes to this. Not many people play him because people complain him that he's slow, but there is a lot of versatility and a lot of different directions that you can use for Vegito. I don't know if he'll ever top, but he might in the who knows. Shigesh is still a thing. Promo Goku is still a thing. I didn't mention him, but he does untap 2. The preface of Goku, or preface of Discovery Goku, can untap 2 and help you Shigesh into the untap or the 2 blue that you need to get Ultra Instinct. If you take a look at the Ginyu deck profile, I go more into that in that video. I hope to update that profile sometime or another. Also, the biggest pro is that it does get around barrier and it does disrupt. If you do like red, green, or red, blue, or something like that, something aggro or something, and keep attacking and get them down to a pretty low life, you can swing for this guy and then the next turn get this guy out and then swing for game for triple strike. If you're using yellow, blue, you can bad ring as well. So, and that kind of brings me to the cons, which basically, for this guy, he can be cold bloodlusted and as well as crushable. So if you are running blue-yellow, which most people do when it comes to yellow to UI Goku, you definitely want to have a bad ring so that way you don't get cold bloodlusted and you don't get crushable and you don't get countered out, because this only prevents combos. Keep that in mind. Whenever people see the Rapid Onslaught Goku, you kind of already know. Honestly, you already know that the UI Goku is coming out, and you have to watch out for it. Plus, they're gonna get rid of this guy as soon as possible because he doesn't have barrier, he doesn't have anything, unless you're using Vegito with strategies of Universe 7. So keep that in mind too. Throwing you that deck tech. This card is too slow. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. It's just because of that extra energy and that extra turn that you have to wait, or you have to ramp up to, which takes up more cards, which is why this guy is so valuable, which leads to the next thing. It is very expensive because of this guy. These guys are, I think, $3 or $4, maybe more at the time that you're watching this, or the time that I'm recording this. I'm not sure, but they're no more than $5 each for a playset. Or $5 each in general, but this guy is still like $25 each, which is $100 for the playset. And comparable, I know that there's a lot of TCGs that are much more expensive than this. Comparable to the other parts of this game, that is expensive. No, don't you can't say anything else. That is expensive. Hit, the one that you play him, the 4-drop in which I can't I can't even think about his name. When you play him, you take 2 battle cards out of your hand, 35,000 or less, which all of these are pretty much the targets for that, and then set it to warp, which disrupts your play altogether. So watch out for that, and as well as card destruction. So Mira, Broly, anything that's card destruction can disrupt anything as far as this goes. Unlike Apes, where you can kind of just draw and then see if you get another ape. It's not that big of a deal. So just watch out for that. And he is kind of a one-trick pony. So if something happens to UI Goku or any of your other pieces, it's kind of hard to get back, other than trying to get out of your warp with Trunks or trying to draw him again. It's very dependent on UI Goku. I personally like decks where, I play Cell Chain sometimes, but I personally like decks where it's a little bit more versatile and you have a lot more options, not just one card. All right, up next is the GT engine. So for this engine, it is pretty straightforward. It is kind of easy to understand, but it slowly ramps from one card to another and into another, and especially with the pan leader, which this one you draw every time that you have a 15,000 or more, 15,000 or more, it adds 5,000, and then if you have 20,000 or more, you draw 1 card on both sides. So for this engine in itself, focuses on many things. So the first thing I would say is a lot of the cards give each other power, for one. A lot of cards focus on either critical or aggro elements, and the other cards that are finishers are focusing on, well, finishing the game, basically. The whole package is kind of here, and with set 4 support, which I have in here, it makes it even bigger. I don't think there's one card, or better, I don't think there's really 1 or 2 cards that really focus on this, but it's sort of a general thing. And the first one I would start with is Grand Tour Spaceship. And Grand Tour Spaceship looks at the top 7, and you get to play a Son Goku GT, with GT, not Son Goku, Trunks GT, Pan, or Giru with 15,000 or less. And now with this new card, with Power Friendship Pan, you get to play a battle card with 15,000 or less with the name GT in its character name. So that is bottom right here. So this right here, Pan, is not included. I would play Grand Tour Spaceship if you want that. And it's up to 5, not 7. So if we kind of focus on that, the first chain here is the pint-sized Goku, which looks at the top 7 for red Son Goku GT. So now you have a few different targets. So this guy who has barrier and 15,000, this guy who has 10k and chooses pretty much this guy or any other fit 5,000 GT Goku card. You can get this guy, which draws or evolves. Wow. When you combo or evolve, you draw 1. You can get this guy, which is a new card that has deflect, and if you evolve or play this card, you draw 1 and then choose 1 of your energy and switch it to active mode. And then this card gains 5,000. So again, that aggro is there. You can get this guy, which, it's like a Prince of Speed Vegeta, which has double strike and you draw 2. Not very much play for this because there are so many ways that you can draw nowadays. Most people just don't do it anymore or use these kind of cards anymore. And then these guys, which are all the finishers, is EX Evolve for 1. You place 1 in the drop area. You evolve it on a 5-drop, which could be this guy. I forgot to mention him. That reduces the energy increases the energy cost by 2. And then it becomes a 5-drop, which you can evolve him, I guess him, but I mean, you can evolve anybody for them. So for these guys, 5 drops are the targets, and every time another card attacks, it gets 5,000 for that turn. So as soon as this card attacks as well, so for this card, you is the EX Evolve for 1 energy. You place 1 in the drop area for the 4 or more, not 5, but it is still applicable for that guy. And this guy is a target, and this guy is a target, and this guy is a target, and not this guy, etc. And every time that other cards attack, so your leader card or your battle cards, it gains 5,000. And if it's 40,000 or more, it has triple strike. It is susceptible to counters, so watch out for that. This guy is the same thing, just with the 5-drop with double strike, and then when it attacks, it gains 5,000, and you switch to active mode, just like Jiren, but a little weaker, I guess. But still, very, very strong. And then the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which is an ultimate card, is a secret rare, and when it attacks, it gains 5,000. It carries over every time that you EX evolve, so watch out for that, or pay attention to that. And then when it attacks, it gains 5,000. If it is 60,000 or more, it gains 1 damage, or deals 1 damage to your opponent's life. And you also can place 2 red cards from your hand and then switch it to active mode. Back in the Mecha Frieza days, these are a 1-turn kill, especially since Mecha Frieza was able to bring him out turn 1 or 2 and then end the game. So, interesting. So that is one part. The other part is utilizing the new Trunks. So Quick Crush Trunks was the 2-drop critical, which is very strong in itself. This guy is now the new Kaba, in which you take a life and it gains 10,000 power in critical for self-awakening. And both of these can be evolved for these guys. So this guy is a 2 red energy, and then it can attack cards in active mode and play a 15,000 or less power or less. Wow. So Zeno is 1. Any of these 15,000 or less power is 1. Fearless Pan is a huge target for that. This guy is a target for that, so that way you can start the evolve chain, etc, etc. This guy's the same way. It's just that you draw a card, he has crit, and one of your red battle cards or leader cards gains 5,000. So you can kind of see the theme as far as everything goes. This gains 5,000, and if you combo, you draw 1 from the field, combo from the field and draw 1. And then this guy is a free blocker whenever Pan is in your leader or battle area. And then this chick over her, the other Pan, if a Goku or Trunks GT with 25,000 or more, you can play this without paying the cost. And then you can choose once per turn with either one, and it gains 5,000. So again, you can kind of see where these, or why these are the way they are, to get triple strike, to end the game with 2 different attacks, and then to end the game by attacking over and over again. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this. Some people play Super Saiyan 3 aggro, in which you utilize the Grand Tour spaceship and then just build your board over and over again, getting these Quick Crush Trunks, these Son Gokus, these reliable Trunks, and then playing Fearless Pan to get double strike crit and 5,000, which I didn't mention is a blocker barrier and gives everybody else 5,000 and double strike. Not this card, just red leader and battle cards. So that is one method that you can do. Another method is just to focus on this chain right here, because what happens is that this guy can get the 5,000 attack power from everybody attacking, and then you can still evolve again and attack and get 5,000, and then if it's at 40,000, it doesn't carry over the triple strike, but it does carry the attack power, and then you evolve on him, and then if it has 60,000 or more when it attacks, boom, they take a life, and then they have to take another life with 60,000 unless they have a counter. So, okay. Whew, I said a lot. I said a lot for this, and there's a lot to this engine. There's a lot to GT in itself, and even more is being added to it. I may have missed some stuff. I'm just saying. I just kind of want to go through the pros and cons now, because there's a lot to it. If you have any questions about this, though, let me know. For the pros, it is fairly cheap. When you really consider all of these cards, other than maybe Chain Attack Trunks, which is a starter exclusive, and this guy is too, and the secret rare, most of this stuff is actually pretty cheap. And it is also easy to pull off. There's not really much as far as a learning curve when you start playing GT. It just sort of works, especially with Fearless Pan or Champa or whoever you're going to be playing. Grand Tower Spaceship is amazing when it works, but I'll get to the other part, because when you have so many targets with 15,000 or less power, it is very easy to get to, and when it does work, it works. And with the added new targets for set 4, I would play 4 of these guys easy, especially if you're playing Super Saiyan 3, because you can, pay 2, restand 3, boom. I mean, now you have a critical or whoever you got. And Fearless Pan, and as well as Quick Crush Trunks, are two very good cards to start out with, and now even this new 1-drop, having access to that is really good. This is a Shigesh target as well if you want to do that way, or play a yellow leader. But those two cards in general are really good because just simply because of the chain attack trunks, and as well as giving double strike for everybody and 5,000. Just having that is crazy. And now again, I mentioned it before, but Pan itself and as well as Set 4 are both very, very good support, and just overall it's just a very good engine. I don't see it too often anymore because it is a little predictable, and this is what goes into the cons. They can easily be cleared with like Kale or Masayan, Cell, whatever it may be. I think Fearless Pan and as well as this card and this card are the only ones that have barrier, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you can use strategies of Universe 7 if you'd like to do that, so that way you can protect yourself to evolve. But that's all I would say, and I think that's also a good addition in this as well if you want to counter that. Also, Grand Tour Spaceship is terrible when it doesn't work, because you just wasted, if you whiff on the top 7 cards, which you will if you're trying to just throw in some GT cards, you just wasted 2 energy and you get nothing out of it. So yeah, and because of that, this engine is very much of a one for all, no ultra, because you're gonna have to have most, if not all, the cards to keep the chain going. But I will say that you can use certain cards in certain areas, like this guy for crit, these guys for crit, that is, this guy for any red deck, this guy for any red-blue deck, or red deck really. If you're running this guy, you can run this guy as well. You can run this guy really in any deck to draw. But when it comes to the GT engine in general, I think playing most, if not all, GT in your deck really helps, especially with Pan leaders or whatever it may be. So for this clear amount, watch out for the evolves and predict them. If you're playing like a yellow leader, Shigesh into explosive really takes care of mostly any threats. If you're playing blue, watch out for your energy, use counters. You know, if you're playing green, a lot of green has removal, and if you're playing red, well, enjoy the aggro fest. Last but not least is Buhan, and I don't play Buhan enough. I mean, that's really about it. I really don't play Buhan as much as I should, and Buhan is actually super strong. So the whole thing behind Buhan, and just Buu in general for all of its evolves, is all about it's really just an aggressive sort of thing going on, honestly. So let's go into Buhan real quick. So this is Buhan. It is a evolve for 6, but you really don't want to do that. He has dual attack, and then you choose one Son Gohan Adolescence under this card, and it gains all of its skills, and you can attack in cards in active mode. So that really disrupts and does a lot for different things. Now let's kind of get into why. And I did make the Buhan Tournament Power deck. Please check that out. I mean, if you haven't already, or if you already know about it, this is exactly why I did it. So one, this is Son Goten, or Son Gohan Adolescence, the Tournament Power one that does have barrier, so he gains barrier because of that, and his skills. If you are playing Universe 7, you can look at the top 7 and play it. And this guy, which, you know, if he is under him, it does gain triple strike if there are 2 Universe 7s in the combo area, which he does have dual attack, so you can do that twice, which is crazy. And if your leader card is blue, like this guy, you can choose up to 3 Universe 7s with an energy cost of 3 or less and play them. So that's always fun. And this guy, which again, this guy can attack battle cards in active mode. If you KO a card, the opponent takes 2 life. So right then and there, that's crazy. If you're attacking like a Saiyan Kaba with 5,000, that's game, like easily game, because this guy has 30,000. So let's just be real about that. And this guy, the BCC promo, which you can draw a card or it gains double strike. If you didn't draw a card, this guy, which, I mean, you don't really want to do that. So I just kind of put that in there because some people do run that, so that way something like this guy can gain 2 red and 1 colorless. There's some deck tech for you. The reason why this guy is Mr. Buu is because this guy should not be able to come out turn 1 or 2. That's why they put Mr. Buu. And the way that you start that chain is basically if we take a look, I'm just making sure I have all the right cards. So if you well, there's a few ways you can do it. So one of the ways is the surprise attack Buu or Majin Buu, and the awakening evil Buu. That's my go-to way. So you play this guy for 3, and you search 25,000 or less Majin Buu from your deck and add it to your hand. I would add this guy, and you evolve on him for 2 the next turn. And then you place 1 battle card from your hand under this card, which would be one of the Gohans, and then you place the Buuhan on top of it, and now it gains whatever Gohan that you do. Now, there's one thing that I would say is that the funny thing about this is that I've been bodied by a Buuhan because I didn't understand the mechanics behind it. One of the mechanics is that you can actually place this guy and evolve first. So you evolve first, it becomes a battle card. There you go. You can end it right there. Now, to utilize Union Absorb, you can place 1 battle card, which is not optional. You can see that it says place 1 battle card under this card. So you can place 1 Gohan, so this guy, and then you can choose up to 1 Majin Buu from your deck. But because it says choose up to 1, you don't have to choose that. Hey, look at that. So now you can do Union Absorb again because it doesn't have a energy cost. You don't have to pay it, and then choose this guy from your hand. And now, guess what? This guy right here, after you play him on top of him, has obviously has double strike already, but it can inflict 2 damage to your opponent, and it has barrier. Or you can go the route of this guy who can draw first every time it attacks, and then this guy who has barrier. So there's a few different ways that you can do that, and there's another sort of chain, but that is basically the premise of what you need to do, and what people kind of see. These cards are searchers, so top 7 for Majin Buu, top 3 for Majin Buu, and the other chain is basically this one. So this is a 3-drop in which has critical, and you play 1 blue and choose 1 battle card from your hand, and choose 1 blue Majin Buu with 5 or less, or 5 or more, or cost of 5, not less or more, and then place on top. It would be this guy, in which you would search. And one of the things I would say, because it does now that I always okay, yeah, I did get that right. So I don't have it here. That's why it kind of threw me off. So one of the battle cards that you place under there would be a South Supreme Kai, which has the critical, and it basically says if you choose 1 South Supreme Kai under this card and gain all of the chosen skills. So it can return 1 from the field and have dual attack and critical because of that card. I have to pull it up right if I can, but you can do that. You can also utilize this guy. Yeah, it's this guy. So this is a kind of another option. You can pay this guy for 4, play 2 to Union Absorb, place 1 battle card underneath. It does have barriers, so that's why it's a 4 cost instead. And then choose the Awakening Evil Majin Buu and do the same thing that we were saying. This guy is another target for that, but most people don't use it because most people don't play Gotenks, I guess. Is this a factor? There's no cards underneath, or no cards in the opponent's combo area. This can't be KO'd, so they have to combo out in order to kill it. Also has double strike, but that's neither here nor there. This guy is also an option because you can play him on top of him, and there's a few different options for that. And then this guy gives all other Majin Buu barrier, but it doesn't have itself barrier, and it does search out of control evil Majin Buu to start this chain as well. And I know what you might say. I may have missed something. I may have missed something somewhere. Let me know in the comments. Now, the other thing that I will say as far as a chain goes is that you play this guy, you get this guy. This guy has double strike and evolve for 3, and as well as barrier. So automatically has barrier, so that's good. You choose 1 card in your life and it gains 5,000. So since it doesn't have once per turn, you can do as much as you want, and then it gains 5,000 and carries over to the next evolve. And because of that, is that you evolve on top of him. Yes, on him. I'm trying to make sure I got this right. On him. No, yeah. No. Okay, no, okay, I got that wrong. So you you play this guy, you search him out, you take the life until you have enough life to use, which gives you cards in your hand to combo out, and then it gains 5,000 each one. Let's say you take 2, and it has 35, and then you can place, or you can use evolve on from this guy. So place on top of him, with 1 blue basically, and place 2 cards in drop area, which you can get from the life, and then. You can swing with this guy too, because this guy comes in active mode once it evolves, and it gains 30,000. And because of the power carryover, it now has, you know, whatever else that you have. So 60,000 plus the 10,000 would be 70,000. And then you swing for game. That's basically what it is, because it has triple strike. And that's how some people do it, because they swing for this for double strike, swing for this for triple strike, and hopefully have an energy up if you're playing yellow and get a bad ring, and we're all good in the neighborhood. Now, as you can tell, I am very much not well versed with Buhan. Like I said, I love Buhan. I love the mechanics of it. I didn't go over this card because most people don't use it. He is just a evolve for 4, double strike, and then if there are any Grand Supreme Kai under this card, place all those cards in the drop area if it was going to be removed. So just let you know. And then this guy is the new set 4 guy, which when you play this card with swamp, you draw 2, but you really wouldn't use that. Just wanted to point that out. Whew. Okay, as far as the pros and cons, the pros, this is a very strong chain which can keep going. So for UI Goku and everything else like Cell Chain or whatever, they have a little bit of hard time to keep going. But for Buhan, like if you have the right cards in the right setup and energy, you can just keep doing it. I mean, I've been bodied, like I said before, by many a Buhan and Majin Buu. Multiple effects and benefits are really, really good. There are plenty of them. I went through pretty much all of them. If you have more, let me know. Buhan itself is just a monster, a 30,000 dual attack that it can attack. In cards in active mode is just crazy. I mean, let's just be real. He does have access to barrier through him, and as well as him, and him, so that's really good. He is a very good finisher, and he does have a lot of tournament power support now, and upcoming support, I'm sure. Those are really the pros, a lot of good pros. But for the cons, you have to draw into barrier, whether it's been as this guy, this card, or whatever. Otherwise, you're gonna get popped, especially with Cell roaming around. You just kind of watch out for that. You kind of have to draw the right cards. If you draw into Buhan, that's kind of an unfortunate thing. That's why you have to utilize something like Abuni, which you draw and you place 1 into the deck, and it's really good since it's a blue card and you can just charge it too if you're playing blue-red. Mafuba is still a thing. I've Mafuba'd many a Buhan before, and it never gets old. So that is also something. It doesn't stop the card completely, but it does buy you some time to find out how to KO it, basically. And then UI Goku and Zeno are 2 very good cards, unless you're playing yellow for some reason, but you're not going to be playing yellow. But UI Goku and as well as Zeno are good, because all the cards underneath him, not only it ignores barrier, but all the cards underneath him have to drop into the drop area. So that is very disruptive. And that is really it. I think I kind of went over everything that I wanted to do. I know this is a very long video. If you skip through it, hey, I don't blame you. If you have any more engines, let me know. I have a lot to go through. I have all the tournament power stuff to go through. I have Frost to go through. I have Vegito to go through. I have I don't know, Frieza, Cooler, Machine Mutants, all of these other ones. So I'll definitely go through these, but I definitely wanted to get through these first because these are pretty prevalent in the meta and as well as just DBS in general. So I wanted to go through those. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. And if I got anything wrong, let me know. I'm okay with that. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. If you are already, thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Later.